first off, I'm going to apply my highlighter, and I'm using all Sigma brushes today, just so you know, especially focusing on the Sigma Premium set, because I'm currently testing these brushes out, and I want to show you guys how they perform. So I'm going to use my Graftobian Fantasize 8 color palette number 2. So these colors are really gorgeous, a lot of metallics, and they're like liquid metal on your eyes. So I'm going to start by applying this highlight shade right here, which is called Golden Opal. It's like a champagne kind of color. I'm just going to apply it right on top. It adds a nice amount of shine, but it's not too shiny, which I like, because I don't really like too shiny eyeshadows. Okay, next we're going to go in with our lid color. And I'm going to apply this gorgeous copper color right here, which is called Copper Calico. It is too gorgeous, and what I'm going to show you, I'm going to apply it wet using my SS165 brush and a little Fix Plus. Any mixing medium will do. And when you apply this wet, OMG, it's so gorgeous. So I'm going to show you real quick. Look how it goes on. You would almost think it was a pigment by the way it goes on like that. And this goes for all the Graftobian shadows in this palette. Really, 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 really pretty. Okay, so you have the color on. Now I'm just going to flip the brush over, dry it off a little bit, and then pat on some of the shadow dry, just to kind of set it. And then you can go ahead and take a blending brush. This is the SS222. And just kind of blend out the line. Okay? And now we're going to go in with a brown color. And it is a nice warm metallic brown called Brown Cafe right here. And I'm going to take the SS217. Love this brush. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of etch out the outer V in circular motion to kind of contour my eye. And then I'm going to bring it above that copper color and blend it. And then fade it out. And then the good thing about this SS227 is that even though people might think it's just like an all-over applicator brush, you can use it to like buff out shadow that's too much, that goes too high into the highlight, which is why I like it, and I use it to blend out harsh creases. But I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more color. Okay, now we're going to go in with the black first to smoke it out. So I'm using Graftobian's palette. It's another one of their eyeshadow palettes, but this is more neutral shades. And this is a black shade. It's like a soft black, and I'm going to use that to kind of smoke this look out and give it some sex appeal. So I'm going to use the Sigma SS226 pointed crease brush because it's going to fit nicely into my outer V. And now I'm going to smoke it out. And I'm really focusing that color right in this part. I'm not going to go too high up with it because that's what that brown color is for. I'm going to fade it into that copper. That's why I like this brush, because it's small, so it can fit where you want it to go without making a mess. Okay, now we're going to go back with the SS217. Mind you, these numbers of brushes might be renamed later on because of the larger brush selection from Sigma. But I'm going to take that brown shade again and kind of fade up. Okay, we're getting there. Get a little more highlight color. that golden opal. Soften the brow bone, the edges, and I get a little more of that melted copper on my lid. And then I'm going to blend this into that black so it's a nice seamless transition. I'm going to actually wet the brush a little bit so I can get that intensity I had earlier. It's gorgeous. Okay. And if you want to clean up the edges, you can. Just taking makeup wipe, cleaning up. And then I'm going to go ahead and line, and I might add a little more shadow later depending on how it looks when I have lashes on. But for a liner, I'm just using liquid liner L'Oreal. And I'm going to go over it with a black pencil because the liquid liner is kind of faded. I'm using Graftobian's Black Velvet. Okay, so I'm going to apply this on my waterline. Get it really dark and smoky. And I'm going to use this SS12 212. And you might think to use this for a liner, but I'm actually going to use it for the lower lash line because I like the shape. It's going to fit really nicely in. So I'm just going to take more of that black and I'm going to go right underneath. This is going to give me the smokiness that I really want. This also makes a good brush to set the liner on top with shadow so it really locks it in. Now I'm going to actually use a smudger brush. This is the SS214. I'm going to go in with that brown shade again. And I'm going to incorporate it into the lower lash line. And go right underneath the black. That way it's smoky because it has a black at the base, but it still has like a warm coppery brown shade. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and throw on the eyebrow just because it's looking crazy without it. I'm using my Stilo Earth Brown Brow Pencil. I'm going to fill this in real quick, and I kind of made it thicker, so I have to match it. Okay, once you have the eyebrow outline, I'm going to use my SS266 and some brown shadow from this palette. And then I'm just going to fill it in. Okay, so I'm going to pop on some lashes. I think these are Ardell Wispies, so I'm going to pop these on and be right back. Okay, so the eyes are pretty much done. I'm waiting for this lash to dry a little bit, but I'm going to move on to my face. So first what I'm going to do is conceal using Soft Orange Graftobian Corrector. I'm going to use my SS192 to blend in that concealer. And this is actually a good brush for concealing large areas like underneath the eyes. This makes it a lot quicker. I'm going to try out this Neutral Cream Foundation Palette. And let's see, I think I'm going to try out this shade right here in between these two shades, which I believe are Broadway Star and Showstopper right here. Because even though it's a neutral palette, it still has some yellow base shades in it. So I took just about that much, that's all you need. And I'm going to apply it to a palette. So here is the foundation. It was only less than a pea-sized amount, and I'm actually going to use that for my entire face to show you that you really don't need a lot of this foundation at all. What I like to do is add a few drops of MAC Face and Body Mixing Medium to make it into a liquid foundation that lasts. So I have some drops here, and then I mix it. And now I'm going to take my SS131. I'm going to wet it with a little Fix Plus first, just to make the foundation go on really smooth and kind of sheer because I don't need a thick layer. And then I'm going to buff it in, dot and buff. And this is giving me just the right amount of coverage that I need. For my cheeks, I stipple it on more so because that's where I have some redness I want to cover up, as well as on the sides right here. And I like this better than a regular foundation brush because it has texture to it. So I feel like it really buffs in. The SS138 set. And I'm going to use Graftobian's Skin Tone Light face powder. And there's a translucent, which is completely white, like this. And then they have this one, and then they have the face powder Skin Tone Dark. So I just pat it onto my palette, and then swirl it around on this brush. Shake off the excess, and now I'm just gonna set it. This brush is really nice. It feels like air. Okay. And then I'm gonna go in and start my contouring. The warm powder palette, just because I need to test this one out. And I'm gonna use the same brush I used for the powder, which is the SS138. Because it comes to a tip. It did come to a tip, but I didn't wash it with the cap on. I mean, I didn't let it dry with this brush shaper on, which you should, so I keep the shape better, but it's still going to do the job. So I'm going to go into the warm powder. I'm just going to take two of the darker shades and then use it to contour. So it's really just going to give me some shape and definition. And I like this brush because it applies it with not too harsh of a line, which happens with a lot of brushes. Even like the 109 sometimes deposits too much, the MAC one, or the 168 sometimes applies too much. But since this is like fluffy, but it comes to a point, it helps to diffuse the color, which is what I like. So now I'm going to move to the nose. I'm going to use the smaller brush for my nose contouring, SS165, and it fits nicely on the bridge, so that's a good thing. So let's go on to blush. So I'll use the warm powder blush from Graftobian. I'm going to use something kind of sticking on the bronzy side. I'm going to use this one right here. This one's called Cognac Kiss. It's kind of like a reddish brown a little bit, but it's kind of skin tone, which is what I like it for. And I'm going to use a paddle brush. You can use this for bronzer too, but I'm using it because I want to get a nice application of color. And now I'm pushing it right here. I'm focusing it right kind of high up so it adds to the contour. And then we're going to use the tiny brush again that I used to contour my nose, wipe it off, and then I'm going to run back to that palette I was using. I'm actually going to use the same highlight brow color as my cheek color, my cheekbone highlight. And the reason why it's good is because it's a big pan, even though it's an eyeshadow, so you can fit your brush easily into it. And then I'm going to go ahead and highlight the top, and it's a nice golden, very subtle highlight. Gives you a nice amount of sheen, but it's not overdone. Okay, so for lips, I'm going to stick in the same family. We're going to go to Graftobian's lip palette, and I'm going to go for something on the nude side. I'm going to use this shade right here, which is called Sandalwood, brownish nude, and then I'm going to use the gloss, which is Vanilla Spice Lip Gloss. And then I'm going to use Sigma's new lip brush, which is the SS316, and then I'm going to get some of that nude shade lipstick. It's a nice nude shade, and it's really creamy. Okay, but I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of liner to warm it up. I'm not sure which color liner this is, but it's by MAC. And the reason why I don't know is because the bottom part broke off. The part with an E. Okay, so I'm going to warm it up by just lining the outside. And that's a tip. Whenever something might seem like it doesn't work for you, just add a little liner. And then you can go back with a lip brush and blend out that line just to soften it. Now I'm going to go back and add that gloss right on top, that Vanilla Spice lip gloss that was in the palette, just to give it some shine. Okay. And looking at it now, I think I could use a little bit more cheek color just because it's a very brown look. So I'm going to go in now, I'm going to add a little bit more. I'm going to go for this pink right here. And just really lightly touch it on to give my face some color. Okay. So that's the final look featuring my Graftobian products as well as the Sigma Premium Brush Set. So I hope you guys enjoy. It's a very sultry kind of, you know, like type of bronzy look that's really good for going out. You can picture it like on a Maxim kind of shoot. So I hope you guys enjoy. Check out my blog makeupbyRenron.com for a list of the products used, pictures, and all that fun stuff. And until next time, I hope you guys have a great night. Ciao, Bellas.